Let's talk about working our biceps 101, okay? So some common things that we want to pay attention to and some common mistakes that I oftentimes see. Hopefully this visual will help put together a lot of my form feedback when it comes to this training block's bicep curl variations and also any bicep curl in the future. Because the thing is, it doesn't matter if we are doing a traditional bicep curl and our arm is kind of just vertical because we're standing or sitting. It doesn't matter if we're doing a face away curl or we're on an inclined bench and our arm is behind us, right? And we're taking a curl. It doesn't really matter if we're doing a cable curl, right? And our arms are in front of us. Basic rule of thumb applies, meaning we want the arm between your shoulder and your elbow to remain stationary, okay? So what we're looking for is to keep that part of your arm stationary and not coming forward and not coming backward, okay? So when you see me write in your form cues or your form feedback, hey, we need to make sure that we are stabilizing the part of your arm from your shoulder to your elbow. That's because I'm seeing either your elbow come back behind or I'm seeing your elbow come forward in front. And we want to prevent that because it's not putting enough tension on your bicep. It's not recruiting your bicep optimally. And therefore, let's fix it so you can get the most out of your time. If you have to break that vertical and come back or come forward, that means that you're not able to maintain your form. That means that we need to reduce our weight so that you can maintain your form. The second most common mistake I see is, and specifically in a bicep curl, is using momentum. We are swinging the weight. We're not actually using our muscles to complete the contraction. We are instead swinging in order to make that rep complete. And so what I want you to think about is we need to make sure that the part of our arm from that shoulder to elbow is stationary, because it's going to be really hard for you to use momentum if you keep that in the back of your head. Now, sometimes it's very common where we swing our body, right? We use our hips in order to complete that. And so maybe that's why you see some variations with me asking you to keep your back up against a wall, or we're sitting in a bench, right? Is to try to prevent that from happening in order for you to get the most out of that rep. So in general, when it comes to bicep curls and trying to not use momentum and swinging to complete the rep, we got to remember that it's about bracing our core and potentially holding a different stance, okay? When we are in a split stance position, it can sometimes help us prevent swinging because our body is evenly distributed against 2 points of contact on the ground rather than 1 point of contact. It's a little easier for us to move around, right? So sometimes if we go ahead and we split our feet and we remember to keep that elbow fixed, hey, it's going to be a lot easier to try to prevent our momentum from happening. Sometimes a wider foundation with a soft bend in our knee as we brace our core, right? We're tucking that pelvis under, we're engaging our abs, we're tensing like someone is going to punch us in the gut, can also sometimes help us prevent that swinging motion happening, because if our core is braced and we have that soft bend in our knees, everything from our core to our lower body is engaged, right? And so it's going to be a lot harder to break at that hip line and start swinging and using momentum. So all of that to say, when I'm looking at your bicep curls, the biggest thing that I'm looking for besides your tempo, your range of motion, your intensity, things like that, is form, okay? So form is going to be always to try to keep that body part stationary, all right? So the next time that you're doing bicep curls, how is that form, okay? Number 2, are we swinging, all right? And if so, draw attention to that. Create that mind-muscle connection. Let's try to prevent it so that you're getting the most out of your effort and your time spent lifting.